Hello, hello, hello. Hello. I'm still trying to figure it out if I can go live at the same time on Instagram. So if you're there with me, please hold on a minute. I'm not able for some reason to connect. I'm not sure why. I should have everything. That's why something changed there. Nope. Huh. That's disappointing. If you're there with me in the chat, let me know if you hear me well, see me well. I'm gonna start painting in a second. I'm just desperately trying to hook Instagram, which really doesn't want to do it. Hey Andy and Stimulus, thanks for being live with me. I won't make you wait too long. Let me just 1 minute to see if I'm able to manage to get our nice people from Instagram. Okay, there's something here. It's just not want to cooperate. Let's try it one more time. But while I have you guys, Stimulus, Andy, let me know, are you participating into the Paint This in Your Own Style this week? We are doing this cool portrait with some cool lighting. I want to talk about lighting in today's live because we're gonna have a launch, not a launch, it's a challenge. A challenge in 2 weeks about lighting, and I thought it'd be relevant to talk about lighting today. All right, copying the stream key, copying the stream URL, press go, see if it works, and if it does, and it doesn't, I really don't understand why. All right, well, I'll have to figure that another day. Sorry, Instagram. Let's get cracking. All right. So yeah, it's been a while since I came live to paint, and usually I start with a sketch, but today I wanted to make the best of the time that I already have right now to do this portrait. A few of you guys already did it in the community. Great job with it. So I'm going to do my best to not disappoint. With a quick sketch, let's start with a beginning of Andrew Lumi's method, placing the eyes and stuff. But yeah, as I'll be rendering afterwards, I want to talk about lighting. Like I was saying, lighting was another subject that, to me, just really made me a better artist as soon as I understood a little bit more about it. And I know it's the case for a lot of artists. It's one of those key theory that you can apply on everything. And once you have a better understanding of it, you're finally able to piece together what you're seeing on references and ultimately even paint from imagination, which is, I would assume, the goal of most of us artists, trying to paint what's on our minds. I mean, you let me know. There's nothing bad with painting from references. I love to do it a lot. This is one of them. I find it relaxing. But I'm always having just a lot more fun when I can just explore ideas from my mind. So yeah. This angle of that portrait is not easy. I'm sure I'll get there. So yeah, if you're with me in the chat, Stimulus and Andy, thank you so much. Let me know if you're struggling with lighting, if that's something you would like to learn more about. And I'll let you know, guys, about what's coming on, this challenge that I've been working like crazy on for like the past 4 weeks or so. I can't tell today. I'm gonna have a hard time. You know, there's one of those days when you're just like rusty for some reason. That's how I feel today. You know, when I create these big projects, these big challenges, unfortunately, I don't paint as much. And then I have to kind of feel that little period of time of feeling a little rusty. So it happens to the best of us. Be assured of that. Hey, BS, Ben, right? Hello, hope you're doing well. I'm doing well, thank you. Hope you're doing well as well. Thanks for joining live. Like I was saying in the community, it's been a while since I came in to do one of those illustration live, and I really liked it. I used to do it a lot more. There's something fun and relaxing about it, chatting with you guys and doing this. Here's a question for you guys. I know there's not a ton of you guys, but maybe if you're watching the replay or yeah, if you're there, would live event, as in like events that we like, sorry, let me redo this. If does meetup in person would be something you're interested in, or do you prefer to always be online to learn and paint? Because this is something that I'm starting to think about. Maybe there's a way where I could organize some live meetup in whichever city I am, which I'll be moving to Spain in about a month, in Valencia. So probably the first meetup would be there, but as I'm traveling to the States and whatnot, maybe I'll be able to also have other meetups. Is that something that you guys are interested in? Like I used to be part of a group that would meet in cafes to sketch It can be digital, it can be traditional. That's not an issue. It's just more about like the community aspect of it all, um, making friends and getting to know people and having fun sketching. If that's something that you guys are into, let me know. I'd love to know if I should explore it with more seriousness. So yeah. Let's kind of get it there. So Bibi say that would be cool if you were ever able to come to California. Yeah, that'd be cool. California is far from where I am right now, though. But yeah, having these kind of meetup is interesting. I'm seeing also like a few artists creating these kind of like art retreats where they organize like in the city somewhere. Like I'm following an artist called Sarah Tepes, and she's organizing a trip to Japan, I think, with artists, students, but not necessarily students, just artists, I guess. And what she does is she organized the trip. You get to travel and paint, learn about Japan, and ultimately be part of like a tight knit community, while like sketching in Japan. I think it's pretty cool. And I thought to myself, well, Spain would be pretty cool as well to go sketch. There's a lot of great architecture in Europe in general. So that could be maybe something that I could organize. I don't know. I'm getting all sorts of ideas. Either Riverside or ALA. Yep. Also another place that I haven't visited yet, but I'm looking forward to do it one day. ALA, I just been in the airport, and it was hectic. LA is like a giant airport, but it feels like it's tiny because it's packed all the time. I feel like his forehead needs to be just a little bit bigger. So yeah. So that's another idea that I have, maybe for either later this year or maybe next year. That could be interesting. I'm also exploring the idea of moving the Digital Paint Academy to another platform. This is very early conversation, but I always like having a hard time to connect in Discord. Like Discord is better than Facebook by a mile. It's much better, but it's still not the ideal solution. I wish I could have my community just closer to the academy, ultimately where I teach. So that's something I'm also thinking about. All right. I think finish is better than perfect will be definitely my go-to today. I'm going to try to liquefy a little bit of it because it's not exactly where I want it to be. I think that's a little better. Bibi, you say, is there a new content for us, if you folks in Light from Imagination? I would not be able to do the 2-week challenge, but I'd be interested in the new lesson if there's something new. Bibi, the masterclass that's included into the lighting challenge that comes on June 16 is the exact same one that you have in the DPA. So if you are in the DPA, you already have access to it. But if you are taking the challenge, you get lifetime access to it, right? Membership being, the Academy being membership, you don't own the classes. But if you join the challenge, you'll own the lighting theory essential masterclass that's inside the DPA right now. And that's great by itself. But truly, the most important part of that challenge is the live feedback. So if you tell me that I would not be able to do the 2 weeks challenge, I think you would be missing out on the major part of this event. So I wouldn't recommend it for you. Because the idea is really to take those 2 weeks, get the feedback, work with peers, exactly like we're doing in IFI, essentially. Having this whole community get together all at the same time to help each other. Like, what I realize is people learn better when there's other people learning with them. So that's the idea that's behind this new challenge of mine. Is I want to kind of utilize the success of the Illustration for Imagination program, but on a smaller scale, where IFI lasts 8 weeks, and we're doing a very big project with IFI. This one is like a smaller project. We're going to do like a focus group kind of event where we learn the theory, practice the exercises, and then apply it on an illustration from imagination. So being able to close the gap, right? So it's not just about learning the theory, doing the exercises, and then you're left by yourself. I want to make sure that once you understand the techniques, you try it for yourself, and then you get feedback right away, so you can, after that, use it for your own illustrations. That's the idea. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions about this. But I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a ton of fun, and it's going to help everyone that is going to join. I am damn sure about it. Whoops. There we go. Uh, okay. Is that better? Yeah, maybe it's better. So I see, thanks for the explanation. I hope it does well so that there will be more in the future. Always good to get your feedback. Yeah, well, thanks. Appreciate it. And yeah, that's the idea. I want to move towards these kind of like format where feedback is taken seriously. So yeah, probably that we'll have some other events that will follow this format. All right, I'm gonna start painting colors on that thing and talk about lighting. So there's one big concept for the 7 of you guys online with me. Thank you so much. There's one big concept I wanted to talk about today, and it's the concept of cool, warm light, cool shadows. It's a concept that I explained in the illustration for imagination. So BVS, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But there's this misconception amongst artists that cool light, warm shadow. Warm light, cool shadows is the way to go to create a good painting. And it is true. When you're having a complementary color scheme such as blue and orange, or yellows, orange, and blue greens, or whatever combination of those two colors that are opposite on the color wheel, it will be pleasing to the eye. It's going to look better. But the reason for that is just because we are seeing this combo every single day outside. The sun, which is the main light source of the planet, the only light source of the planet. Technically, the moon kind of pitches some light, but it's come from the sun. It's reflection. So yes, the main light and the only light source of the planet. The sun is yellow-orange. It's a warm light. And what people don't understand most of the time is that we have an other light source during the day that comes from the sky. And the sky is blue. So what we have every day, without us realizing it, is that we have this combo of warm light, cool shadow in front of us all the time. And so the misconception is to think that, oh, this is the rule. If I'm putting my light warm, I have to put my shadows cool. But that's not true. It's just because we're seeing it so much that when you see something so many times, it becomes pleasing. It's just by repetition. But the reality is you can have all sorts of warm light, warm shadow, cool light, cool shadow, cool light, warm shadow. It just depends on the color of the light sources that you have. Like if you're taking this photography right here, okay, and you break it down, and those are the things I'm going to teach in the class, how to break down references. How many light sources do you see, right? I'm sure I just told the answer, so I'm sure that you guys know, but you have 2 light sources. You have the sun that comes from this angle, and you have the blue light that comes from the sky right here, that in this case comes on this side. And so you have a side illuminated here and an other side that is illuminated there. Those are 2 light sources. Shadow is just the part that it's not illuminated by a light source. But sometimes what you have, and it's the case here, you have a key light, which remains the main light source. It's very bright, very strong, that eliminates this side of the face and therefore creating a shadow on this side of the face, but because we have a second light source that's called an ambient light, which essentially is kind of everywhere, right? The blue sky covers everything, therefore it's everywhere. And so the key light eliminates the blue on this side. That's what it does. But there's blue on everything. It's just it's so strong, this one, that it's eliminated. And so the blue stays on this side because it was always there. So you have a shadow, but you have that blue light in it. Hopefully this makes sense. And that's a super cool concept that when I understood, I was like, I'm able to look at these references, especially during the day, and understand better the light schemes that I'm seeing. So yeah. During the class, though, we'll concentrate mainly on understanding the theory of lighting. There's a few rules for light theory, and I'll be explaining all of them so you can understand them and then apply them to exercises and then to your own illustrations. And once you understand them, after that, what we'll do is we'll design an illustration from imagination and apply lighting from imagination on it. So that's gonna be super fun. So yeah, let me know. Did you appreciate this this little lesson? I'm not too sure of the color of the jacket. Maybe it's that. A t-shirt. I think I was closer with this. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm going to also place his beard a little bit here. There's a bit of a mustache. His eyebrows. All right, now let's put the oranges for the skin tone. I'm gonna go with a hard edge brush. The nose, the eyes, kind of all have these tones. Same thing with the ears. And I'll do the eyes as well. And the sky, I think the sky on the reference is actually a little bit more green, a little bit more saturated, a little bit darker. And there's a bit of a gradient on it. I think you got, no, I think it just needs to be darker, more saturated. And then the inside is a little bit more green. Okay. So that's the base color. Now I'm going to add the shadows, which is one of the big part that I want to explain in the class. How to place cast shadow, how to understand the direction of the light, and how to place your shadows in perspective, and how to do all of this on not just reference pictures, because it helps on reference picture as well, but being able to do it from imagination is the ultimate goal. So I'll teach that as well. Using multiply. I'm going to just add the shadow everywhere. I'm going to come back afterwards to take out what I don't need. I'm using the blue of the sky here as my color for the shadow. And that's on purpose, because usually the ambient color will be in your shadow. Hey DJ, how you doing? Thanks for joining live. We are doing the paint this in your own style challenge from the community, if you didn't know. I think that maybe the shadow needs to be a little bit darker. I think that's better. And I'm gonna come and delete the parts here that I don't need. I think that's good. Now let's add the lights. Oops. I think maybe that's too pale. That's too gray. It's supposed to be in the yellow zone. Maybe I can start with that. In doubt, when you don't exactly are sure of like the colors of your light, like I'm not, just try to build it with like values. So I'm just going to use this value for now, and I might afterwards add on top of it the brighter values. I think there's going to be more than one color for this light. I might use the soft round brush a little bit. And there's almost like blue that comes in it. Yeah, just a little bit maybe. Whoops. That has a different color here. Placing the subsurface scattering a little bit already. These brighter tones of reds that appears when the light rays are basically penetrating the skin and creating more saturation. It's almost white. I'm kind of placing like my values, and then I'll be able to come and play with the values that I already have using this as my color palette essentially. Getting the color from a reference without using the color picker seems like a skill in itself. Yeah, no, absolutely. But that's where also like understanding light theory helps, because I'm not trying to match perfectly the colors that are on my reference. I'm just thinking, okay, my light is supposed to be a little bit more warm, my shadows a little bit more cool. So I can play and try to find the range of colors that kind of make sense within the scene. So it lets place for interpretation and happy accidents. Like you don't have to be perfect from the get-go. And like I said, right now I'm building like a color palette of some sort. I'm not gonna add the pure highlights. I'm gonna wait a little bit later to do so. I'm just kind of like adding colors that I know I might be I need to use later on. Adding these highlights and so on. And I think that's already pretty good the way it is now. So I might start to I'm gonna add some more highlights, I think, but after that I'm gonna start rendering. Because the thing is, if I add too much rendering too soon, like I need to make my line disappear at some point. At least that's what I want. It's not every artist that likes to have their lines disappear, but I want my lines to be disappearing. So I prefer to render later on. Also, there's kind of tricks also, like I could use like even now like an overlay and kind of go check like what happened if I add some yellow, what happened if I add some of those brighter value and it's going to create sometimes nice happy accidents, and you kind of roll with them, which is what I'm doing right now. I think that's a good base. I'm going to start rendering on top of my sketch lines, starting with the eyes. I always feel like if you manage to do an eye that looks okay, everything else is going to be like good just in comparison to it. Going to desaturate the sclera a little bit. Make the eyes darker. There's a lot of saturation in his skin because he's been in the sun all day and the sun is on him, so he's got the saturation of subsurface scattering, but also he's got a little tan. So it's to find these different tones of light. That will express that. Mixing a little blue in the shadow. There's going to be also like blue in the eye. Could add it now or later, I guess. The highlight. Pushing these lights. Sometimes I'm going to use my smudge tool to just kind of smudge a few parts. So yeah. If you've been participating into the challenges in the community, can you let me know if you prefer to do the paint this in your own style like this one, or do you prefer the Daily 5 challenge where I give you a small task to do every day of the week? I'm curious to know, or if you like both, if you think that this is the way to go. Because I like both personally, but I feel like one brings more participation than the other one, so I'm curious to know. I'll do the hair later on. DJ, so you like both? That's great. And same for you, BBS. All right, so here's the question then. Can you tell me honestly which one you've been participating the most? Did you participate equally to both? I'm gonna push a little bit the skin here towards paler values. Did you say they each have value and it helps mix it up every often? Yeah, I agree. Which was the reason why I started to implement both of them. And BBS, you say, I want to practice with more studies, so paint this in your style seems to be useful for words. Right. Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad then. We'll keep them both running. Did you say I did this version more? Was traveling the past few weeks, but ready to jump back in. It sounds great. Was that a vacation travel? Can you share? You don't have to. Just making conversation. But if you want to share, let us know. Last travel that I did was in Japan a few weeks ago, and it was pretty awesome. Trying to get all these little tones everywhere. Maybe you say I do spend most of my time doing the DPA. That stands for Digital Painting Academy for people that I know. Though, but I will finish soon, and I would like to do more of the challenges along with the deep dive library. That sounds great. I've been thinking about, like I was saying earlier, thinking about moving to a different platform. This would be like helping, especially people like you that have been like working really hard this year and have almost finished the DPA, went through IFE, and are just ready to build, just bigger illustrations and build their portfolio and kind of continue their journey. Because the idea would be to be able to just create essentially mini communities where people are working on personal project, but still needs feedback and accountability from a tight knit group of people that already know what they're doing, kind of thing, but still want to continue having like the accountability and the feedback. So it'd be great. I'll be able to give you more info later on this year. Still talking with these platforms to see if it's feasible, but I am casually optimistic. No, is it casually or I'm taking my time, lack of a better word. DJ say island hopping in the Caribbean. That sounds amazing. Before I get too hot later this year. Yeah, I bet, right? Like I'm from Canada. Like we never think about like can it be getting too hot? First of all, we usually go during like mostly winter season, which is usually winter everywhere else. So it's like the good season, I guess. And before I started to travel in my life, in my early 30s, I'm 42 now. Yeah, my conception of like anything south of Canada was just perfect weather, but it does get too hot in some point, and I learned that the hard way when I was starting to live in Thailand, where I am right now. It gets extremely hot. Also before hurricanes. Yeah, no, definitely. That's something I never experienced, and thank God. I was here though a few weeks back when the giant 7 point something earthquake hit Myanmar, and we could feel it all the way here to Thailand, and even more. Like I live in Chiang Mai, but even more in Bangkok. Bangkok had it really hard. I had a friend, his whole building was just like shaking. That's the scariest natural phenomenon that I experienced in my life. And I'm pretty happy because I really don't need to experience more than that. These things are scary, seriously. The humidity that gets you as well. Yeah, I was literally complaining about it yesterday. Um, I don't realize it because we're always in the AC, and then you go out and it's like it grabs you one shot. I feel like the skin here needs to be like darker. Kind of makes the tone. I'll be adding more detail to the beard. later on. For now, this is good for now. So yeah, all that to say that I'm excited about the new challenge coming in. These new format of challenge as well, with feedback and kind of a tight knit group. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I guess I haven't said that yet today, but if you want to join, you can save $100 right now until Thursday, I believe. After Thursday, that deal will be gone. But essentially, if you just join the the waiting list, the VIP list, you'll get a coupon that you can use right away, or you can use next week when we actually open the doors. But if you join now, you get instant access to the class, which means that you can start before everyone else. And then next week, you'll get the feedback. And if you don't want to join, that's absolutely fine. If that's not the right time, I'm also giving you just a free sets of brushes for you to check just by downloading. So you get the coupon, you get the brushes, and after that you decide that this is not for you, that you keep the brushes. It's all good. It's all good in the hood. Yeah. All these beautiful tones. This is really what I love about like painting like skin. You get the skin itself that has all these different tones because skin is translucid and light goes into it and it creates all these different tones, and you have veins, you have a bunch of stuff happening in there. And then you add light on top of that, and all of a sudden you get something like just crazy looking good with all these different tones, these different colors. I don't know for you, to me it's just super exciting to see coming to life. My style has been changing quite a bit through the years. And I just love the way I approach it now, which is more like loose, stress-free. Because I think there's a big part of that when it comes to art. We're doing art and to have fun, but when we take it just too seriously, we lose ourselves into like a soup of anxiety and stress because we're not able to reach our point. Which is also why I believe that lighting is one of the things that everybody should learn, because you can create something so nice with just value, and lighting is essentially like that's how you get value. So yeah. What else? I was talking about moving to Spain. I'm also super excited about this. I'll talk about it in the weeks to come. Like I've been moving by myself. I've been moving with my wife from countries. I live in Colombia, I live in Berlin, I live in Montreal. I live in a few places, but this is the first time I'm moving with my son, which makes this one just that much more interesting exciting and stressful at the same time. We're trying to get our forever home. And believe it or not, I never been to Valencia. That's where we're going to move. I'm just hoping for the best, really. It seems to be a place for family, with some people with some good values. But it's a hard move because we have a community here. I'm saying goodbye to all of my people that I know. And the reason why we're moving, because it sounds like it's not a good decision. It's just because of the air pollution here. It's just not great. We need something where my son can go play outside without getting lung cancer. Without me getting lung cancer. I mean, it's not cool to not being able to breathe. And unfortunately, there is this this thing here where all the farmers, all at the same time, every year, burn their crops, and it creates a ton of pollution. And the air becomes unbreathable for a few weeks. So we wanna avoid that. Maybe as you say, I found just painting seems to make me feel less stress than if I have to do a sketch first. But that probably means I'm not very confident about sketching yet. It definitely means that because I feel the same. And sketching is definitely the part of my illustrations that I'm still struggling with. The reason why is because sketching is not just sketching. You know, it's perspective. That's what it is. The reason why you're having a hard time with what you're sketching is because you're having a hard time with perspective. Sketching is just placing lines to express form without value. That's what sketching is. And so when you do that and you're struggling with perspective, like I think most of us do, it becomes harder. The best artists that really do like the best illustrations from imagination, they have just a better grasp of their perspective skills. So that's why it's something that you need to work on kind of all the time, making sure that you keep progressing so you can call these things whenever you need them. It's like lighting I was saying, like you use lighting, you understand lighting, and then you can paint better portrait even if you use like a reference picture like I'm doing right now. It works the same thing with perspective, but you can also apply it to paint from imagination. So it's just like it's a double whammer skill that really makes sure that you are leveling up faster and better. I think my values are a little too pale here. Needs to be darker. Usually I wait a little bit longer before I start putting my highlights and whatnot, my rim lights, but sometimes, like I'm doing right now, I like to just kind of like add them as I go. It's almost like a purple in that shadow here. It's interesting. it's almost like pink. I don't know if there's like a pink element in his background. Probably. I'm just gonna paint what I'm seeing. And it might just add something interesting to look at. Seems to have also light that comes from the other side. Jerome, every time I sketch, I have shoulder pain. Any advice on how to avoid that? I mean, I can only guess that you're having a posture that that might not be ideal. So I'd kind of like, I don't know if you did that first, but there's an artist that I follow. He used to not be really like active on social media, and I think he's changing his mind because everybody needs a social media at some point. And he said that he was filming himself, and as he was not used to filming himself, he looks at his footage and he realized that he was drawing with the tongue out. He never realized it before. He had to film himself to realize it. So my advice to you would be to film yourself drawing just a little bit, like for an hour, for example, and just look at your behavior. Maybe you're like having some weird postures as you're doing it that you need to fix. And sometimes being just conscious of your bad habits will help you mentally to get straight out. Like even me, like sometimes I'm like just all squeezed up, and then I'm like, okay, bring back my shoulders back and trying to get back to a more ergonomic posture definitely will help. And that's the best advice I can give you, because truthfully, if you have some pain, it's most probably because of your posture. But the good point is that you're having pain in your shoulder, which tells me maybe it's because you're using your shoulder to do movement, which is really good because when you're using your shoulder, you have better chances to have better control over your lines, over your strokes. It's when you use your fingers that's a little bit like harder for certain things. So there's a bit of good in everything. So yeah. Gonna try to push these highlights a little bit. Not too much, but just a little bit more at certain places. Do you guys can hear my son? I can hear him like screaming. He's playing downstairs. All right. I'm going to be adding a little bit of details soonish. I'm going to try to give myself the rest of the 2 hour mark to finish this portrait. Who is your favorite art teacher, online or offline? That's a great question. Let's see. Who did I take classes from recently? I think it's been a while since I took an actual class. But I've been studying multiple, not multiply, multiple artists, kind of like a little bit of every day, really. One that I'm still trying to this day to understand is because he has literally the understanding of perspective that I desire to have at some point in his sketches. And his shape design is to die for. It's just, at least to my taste, it's the best. His name is Max Grecker. I think he's from Sweden. I'm not sure. So Max Grecker is one of those. I wish he had classes. I would totally go check his classes to understand how did he got where he is today. But that's not a class. What's a good class that I had? There's just so many these days, right? Which is good. Like I was working on an email yesterday, and I wanted to make the comparison between cooking and painting, because I went to realize in my head that the two are very similar. We have the same ingredients, to cook spaghetti sauce. Like, we can use all the same ingredients: tomatoes, salt, pepper. I'm trying to invent a spaghetti sauce, mushroom, whatever it is, right? Those are the ingredients. And you could have 1,000 different people, recipes, all taste different with the same ingredients. And art is about the same thing. We're all using lines and values and colors and textures and so on. And then you would take a recipe, which is essentially like, classes and how other artists are doing things. And they're all different, Those are the styles that we have, And I lost my train of thought here, but I just thought that was worth sharing. So I want to write an email about it. Because I feel like I think people are not actually taking enough classes. Seriously. I feel like we're all aspiring to get better by being what is called a self-taught illustrator, which I'm considering myself a self-taught illustrator. But that doesn't mean that I did it all by myself. I'm a self-taught illustrator because I didn't go into the conventional route of going to university and following a pre-described, pre-prepared, how do you call it? Curriculum. So I'm self-taught because of it. But it doesn't mean that all I did was practice randomly and I got where I am, Classes, learning from different artists, having feedback from different mentors, having feedback from my peers. Just people with pairs of eyes sometimes is all you need to be able to just kind of get better faster. It's not by guessing. I guess is what I'm saying. Sorry, I guess I didn't answer your question. I'm still trying to think about what was the last one. I have a load of classes that I purchased on Gumroad that I haven't had the time to go through all of them. I guess that's the realization of a lot of people, and that's also why, that's funny to say, that's the reason why I'm trying to change the DPA right now. What I'm realizing is that most people that are, normal have busy lives. So we buy classes sometimes, and then we stack them somewhere, and then we don't even touch them. But if you have a community that is active, if you have a challenge that is just a few precise days, then you're a lot more likely to go through the class and learn the thing that you need to learn to get better. So I'm rethinking the way I teach myself to my students to give them better results. And I believe that within the next few years, especially with all that's happening with AI and whatnot, the way classes are taught online will be a lot different. It's not going to be a bunch of classes and that you can buy and just never touch. It's going to be about finding groups, mentorship, to really help you connect with other artists, connect with the teacher a lot more, and ultimately seeing better results. Got to put action behind it, you say, DJ. Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. Nobody that's the thing, I'm also as an artist, entrepreneur, I'm also a little bit of a marketer, and there's a lot of technique in marketing about building a, what they call it, a done with you and done for you product. But when it comes to art, there is no done for you product. I cannot give you the skills that you haven't practiced, that you haven't learned. I cannot help you create the illustration. You need to do it. All I can do is guide you by giving you some skills. That's what I'm doing. I'm helping people build skills that I learned myself and that now I'm able to pass on, essentially. And my job as a teacher is to make sure that my students feel inspired to put the work on an every day, every week, and every month basis. So I'm really passionate about that, and so I'm rethinking the way I see things. Since the beginning of the Digital Paint Academy, I started with having a learning path, which when I started, I was one of the first one out there. People had one-off classes. They had no actual learning path. Now I'm seeing a little bit more people with learning paths, which is good. But as they're doing this, what I'm realizing it's the path itself is not enough. It's the community. So I want to work on that this year and come up with a better solution for my students and for my communities as well. Because ultimately everybody is super busy and we want to get better. We need to find a way to use the time available to us to our advantages, essentially. You guys let me know what you think of that, but that's how I'm starting to think. DJ say, I think having the community in Paramount that definitely motivates me, seeing other work and their progress and growth. It makes me want to do better each time I'm submitting work. Yeah, I'm glad. That's what I'm observing. That's what I'm observing. Each time that I do a big challenge and I open the community and there's a bunch of people coming in, the interaction and participation is through the roof. and then it fizzled down. It fizzled a word. It goes down a little, and that's what I'm trying to prevent. I want us to keep pushing and find ways to reach our goals without quitting in the middle a million times, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm still working really hard on that. I'm hoping to be able to make it achievement this year. I'll obviously let all of you guys know when it's ready. In the meantime, I'm pretty happy with what I'm doing right now. Proportions are a little stylized, which I don't hate. And I think the values are reading pretty well. It's not perfect, and I might start to add some texture now to make it just a little bit more stylized. I have also this entire project that I started last year that I still want to finish. This game card playing deck of cards. I started it last year. I was super excited. I'm still excited about it, but just life happened. And now it's been months since I did a card. But I'm hoping to be able to finish it this year. And these are the kind of project also I want for my students to be able to do for themselves, you know? So created a community where you could come maybe with your own personal project, no matter what it is, and it would work a little bit like a mastermind. I don't know if you guys know what a mastermind is, but a mastermind is essentially something that you do usually for business, where business owners come together and share their struggles, share their wins, in the hope to uplift the entire group. It's usually small groups between 5 to 10 people top, where they share what they learned, they share the resources that they've got, and essentially it's a way to 10x your progress as a business, but also as anything else, really. It's just a way to share knowledge. So it's the way I envisioned it for like artists that are obviously like at that level. It's finding a community that is to their level, essentially, which is, I think it's harder to find. I think you have a lot of communities out there that are like, they're made for younger artists or, you know, beginner artists that, and that's great. You know, we're all doing like these challenges, we're having some fun, but sometimes there's like projects that requires to have a group of people that just understand the kind of struggles that you're going through. And that could be super interesting, I think, so that you can keep on building your portfolio and just explore slowly becoming, I guess, a professional artist, or an artist that does professional grade work, if that makes sense. Is that something that you guys would be interested in? Let me know if you're interested in that. But that's a little bit of what I'm also realizing in my communities. People come for the challenges, but then they're gone because they have other projects to work on. All right. That ain't too bad. I think I'm going to start adding some details in a second. BVS, so definitely interested in something like that, although the required skills level might be somewhere intimidating. Yeah, but the idea would not be for you to be in a group that your skill level is not matching necessarily, although having some people of different level I think is a plus, especially for the people that are trying to reach up to those levels. But the idea would be to have a group where people are fitting, essentially, you know? So the same kind of like projects, understanding of their skills. That would be the idea. You know what? I think I'm going to. Write that. It says what? Daddy, I think. That's amazing. It says daddy. It's about. This is just a little bit because I don't have the same framing, I guess. Something like that. I'm just gonna place shapes. I don't know if it's actually needed. Might be just more disturbing than anything else. I'm going to take it off. All right, let's add some details, shall we? So here's another cool thing about lighting. For me, lighting and details are interrelated. I used to think that adding, detail was about like adding small brush strokes. And yeah, you're going smaller with your brush strokes, so there's some truth to that. But I think detail is more about adding these places where the light hits most, like these tiny hair in his beard, for example. You know, it's not so much that they're just white. Yes, they are white, and that counts. But it's also the fact that they are catching the light in a different way. That makes it a detail, if that makes sense. And that's one way to do it. There's obviously many other ways to do it. So yeah, all that to say that I'm pretty excited about the class we're gonna have. Challenge we're gonna have starting on the 16th about lighting. We're not gonna be like doing portraits like this. We'll be doing like illustrations completely from imagination and apply lighting on it so we can really understand these principles more clearly. This is where I'm gonna try to add these texture. I've been experimenting with this starting last year, and I still have a lot to learn from it. Like I'm not too sure of how to do it yet. But essentially it's like I'm getting inspired from Andrew Slumey, GC Leyendecker, which just had such an amazing style. The way he did his shape design was truly just masterful, and he would use like a way to like convey shapes and texture within his shadows that is kind of like adding like lines and little shapes in it. So I've been experimenting with it. Something that I started when I started to do my playing card deck, and I'm still trying to kind of like understand exactly how it is. But it's very much experimental. Like these shapes right now that I'm trying to convey. It's not giving me exactly what I want, but I'm hoping that by studying a little bit more his paintings, I should do another master study of his stuff, really. I think that would be useful. But essentially it's like to do it like between the edges of where your Terminator is. A Terminator is where the light and shadow meet. That's the kind of stuff you're going to learn in the class starting June 16 in the challenge. But essentially like when you're doing like these textures between the light and shadow, it softens the transition a little bit, and it adds just a cool texture to it. So that's what I'm trying to do. Shape design is definitely something that takes time to acquire like perfectly. I mean, because I see I think you can definitely have some shape design, but to really understand it and apply it in a way that's systematic, um, at least for me, for my understanding of it, it's been a journey. But yeah, thanks for everybody that's live with me, guys. It's been a while since I did this. Pretty happy I did it. I might bring those back more often again. Um, Maybe a few more times before I leave, because I'll be leaving that beautiful studio of mine. All of this. It's the first time I have such a nice studio in my life, and it was super cool while it lasted to have it. I've been traveling so much, country to country, for the past almost 10 years now. And each time I would crave just a place where I can just sit and everything is in place, everything is there, everything is perfectly arranged with a big screen and everything. And it only happened 2 years ago when I came here. We got this house, rented it, and I built that studio. But now I'm about to say goodbye to it. I'll be able to like do something nice wherever I go, I'm sure. But this one is special. Was the first one, so gotta enjoy it more while I can. Also, having a dedicated space to create, I think, is important. No matter if you teach or if you're a professional, having just a dedicated place where you can do your stuff is helping with creativity a lot. Vivier say, I hope so. It's always fun to see you paint. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, no, I like these sessions where I can have a chat with you guys. Just no stress. Most of the time when I'm in front of the camera, I'm there to teach. These are the kind of like only sessions where I'm like just relax and doing. There's a double thing here that is not working. These are the only sessions where I'm like just relax and kind of just going with the flow. I used to use a lot of like texture brushes to add my textures, and then I kind of switch a few years ago to do them more manually. I still from time to time like to experiment with brushes and see like how I can save time, but the idea of like painting everything by hand and finding my way through it helps also to be able to translate these skills to later on traditional medium, so it's not just digital. Just working these edges. But I'm almost done with this one. Zooming out sometimes to just help you seeing like contrast. I might actually like also zoom out on this picture, zoom out on this one. Oops. And kind of do some comparison. Like I can't see that. I feel like a little bit more light here would be better. Brighter highlight here. Oh. So yeah. I'm hoping to see you guys in the challenge next week. If you're curious about it, if you just want to get the free brushes that comes with literally just getting on the list, go ahead. There's a link in the description. I give you the same brushes that I'm using today, which are the brushes that I'm using on every illustration these days. That's one thing that I changed a lot. I used to use a bunch of different brushes for different, like in every illustration I would try some different brushes and I would lose a bunch of time. And I decided to kind of like stream down my brushes to just a handful of very good brush that does all the job for the kind of work that I like to do. And it really helped to make my workflow faster. Like when you have less decision to take, essentially you're just like more efficient. If that makes sense. All right, I'm pretty happy with this. What do you guys think? You have any feedback on this before I call it go? Done, should I say? Just a little texture there. I might add a little texture there. That's almost like invisible. You might be able to see it if I really screen, but just adding a little there. But I'm pretty happy with this. Maybe a quick signature. Put that in the corner and call it a day. It looks great to me. Always really inspiring to see you do this. Is this in a couple of hours? You know, it goes down to workflow. You know, I think there's no way for any artist to feel like the work is perfect at any point in their career. No matter if like the artists that you're looking at today and you're like, oh my God, I want to reach that level. Well, these artists are probably thinking, oh, I want to reach the next level, right? Everybody has a different level because it's a constant journey of learning new things, learning how you are as an artist, and exploring new ways to develop your skills, understanding things better, and eye coordination, all of these things. It's a constant journey, right? So all that to say that speed, when it comes to speed, it's not a question of skills. Speed is a question of workflow. The reason why I'm able to do it in a little bit less than a couple of hours is because I'm following the same workflow. And as you practice your workflow and as you get better with your own workflow, that's when you'll be able also to maybe that's a bit much. You'll be able also to it's too thick now. It's okay. You'll be able to go faster. It's also like being able to let go of some stuff. Like, this is not perfect. There's a bunch of stuff that I would like to fix. But trying to not go back to previous stages. For example, like I would modify the anatomy a little bit with multiply, but I would try to just, for the most part, keep it as is, just so that, like, there's always the next one. You know, I can always learn more on the next one. This one doesn't have to be perfect. But if I follow the same workflow all the time, then eventually I'll come to a point that I practiced enough to add some more skills, and I'm fast enough that I'm able to do more work. That was exactly how I also like created my last 1 week portrait challenge masterclass. The idea behind it was like, spend less time on it, but be better and create more. Instead of spending, like, when I started my journey, I would spend 40 hours on portrait that I do not care to share. And the reason why is because I was trying to learn a bunch of stuff at the same time on that one portrait instead of focusing on one thing at a time, you know? So anyhow, there's a lot to say about this. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for joining me live today. This was super fun. I'm happy with the illustration. I'm glad I was able to share a little bit of knowledge with you guys. I'll see you in the community. Have a great time. I'm also hoping to see you in the challenge. Link in the description if you're interested. I'll be talking about it a lot more within the next 2 weeks. So have a great one. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Ciao, guys.